Hey, it's Sandra. Welcome to another episode of Asexualise, my asexual life. This is a place to be for education about asexuality, all things asexual, and I share my own asexual life journey in order to help you in yours. So hit the subscribe button right here, right now, and please hit the bell icon so you never miss an episode. So in today's episode, we're going to be discussing why you should never stay friends with an ex and the dangers of staying friends with an ex, because there's a lot of dangers. Maybe you haven't thought about these, but I'm going to explain why in this episode. First of all, if you don't know who I am, I'm Sandra Bellamy, author of this awesome Asexual Perspectives book on Amazon, and also Fibromyalgia Self-Help Handbook. So yes, let's crack on with today's show. They're available on Amazon. So yeah, have you ever had a situation where you've split up with someone, you're in a relationship with, and you realize that you just can't be together anymore? Things are not working, you're not as happy as you used to be, and to continue the relationship is just making it more and more difficult for you emotionally, and you're not really getting anywhere. You're just going round and round in circles, and the same problems are cropping up again and again and again, and you're not solving them. And so you decide it's best to split up, as in not be boyfriend and girlfriend anymore, not be a couple anymore, not be partners anymore. Or maybe you choose to go and get divorced, but you can't do that straight away, right? It takes time. So if you're in any of these case scenarios or similar where you've decided, both of you, or maybe one of you's decided it's best to split up, so you end things, I want you to ask yourself, have those things really ended? Have you ended it? So the whole point of splitting up with someone is you split up. So say it's a monogamous relationship and you're two people together, right? You're two people together in a relationship, but you split up means you split apart from that person. So you're no longer together forming two halves to make a whole. You're separated. Of course, throughout the relationship, you should also maintain your individuality as much as possible. But when you're in a relationship, you're going to rub off on each other. You're going to get some of the other's traits a bit. You're going to end up being similar, because that's what happens when you spend a long time with someone. You pick up some of their character traits, right? You pick up some of their mannerisms. You adapt to each other. So, in essence, when you're in a relationship, you're like two halves of a partnership, right? Two halves of a team. And when you split up, when you're saying, I'm splitting up with you, I'm breaking up with you, you're literally breaking that wholeness. You're breaking away from each other. You're splitting up. That's the point of splitting up. You're splitting up and away from each other, right? That is what splitting up means. But all too often, you find people who are splitting up, but they're not actually splitting away from each other. So they're not fully splitting up. There's not a complete divide down them, because there's still all these attachment issues going on, the emotional attachment, the liking that person's company, liking to be around them, if you do, right? Because sometimes you might hate the stuff they do. You might think they're quite abusive, but even in abusive relationships, you can still find you liking some things about them. You can still find comfort in the familiarity of being around them. This is real talk now. Of course, I could say, oh, you're with an abuser, or you've been with an abuser, you should get out and have no feelings. It doesn't work like that, right? People still love abusers. They get used to them being around. Abusers very often use manipulation tactics to be nice to you 1 minute, horrible to you next, raise you up, raise you down. They have some things going for them that you might like, and you might feel you can't get anyone else, right? You might be in this mindset that no one else is going to love me, or no one's going to love me as much as that person did. No one's going to want me as much as that person did. No one's going to be with me like that person was. And this is a very negative, limited mindset, right? Where you're limiting your mindset to just being with this one particular person. We're talking about a monogamous relationship here, right? And so already there's dangers that you've gone into a limited mindset, that you only think you can get this one person. And far too many people these days, they're splitting up, but are they really? Because a lot of people I'm coming across are still involved with their ex in some way. They haven't made a complete break. They are still involved in that person's life to varying degrees or to lots of degrees. So some of them are just basically having a friends with benefits scenario without saying it's that, because they're still doing a lot of the stuff together they would have done in a relationship, but they're not calling it relationship anymore. So all it is basically is like friends with benefits, but with the like status change. Does that make sense? Just gonna have some water. Excuse me. My throat's a bit strange at the moment. Excuse me. So basically they've just changed their status. They haven't really changed the dynamics of their relationship. And this is really bad, because in a relationship, when you split up, you should have a complete break from the other person, a break to stop feeling the feelings you do for them, stop the emotions that you have for them, stop having all the attachment and reliance on that person. And you need to get used to being on your own again, to living on your own again if you lived with them, to having time by yourself, to seeing other people without having to think of someone else. You need to be free to be who you are now, away from that person. There needs to be a period where you spend time away from each other so that you can grieve the loss of a relationship. And only after that should you even consider putting boundaries in place to see each other again. But I personally would not recommend keeping an ex in your life. There's a number of reasons for this. Obviously, we've just already explored the fact that a lot of people, they carry on the way they've been doing before, but they change their status to like, oh, we're single now. And if you're single, it means you can date and see other people. So for a start, if you stay friends with your ex, just think one or more of you is going to get hurt when that person all of a sudden starts dating or getting into a relationship with someone else. If they still love you and you're the one doing that, it's going to hurt them to see you doing that with someone else, especially if it's so soon. And if you're jumping into another relationship so soon, when you've had problems in the past relationship, you're not taking time out for yourself to heal yourself and to learn and grow from your mistakes or from the situations that cropped up in that relationship. And you're just going to take those to another relationship, and you'll have another failed relationship because you failed to take stock of the way you're feeling and thinking on what happened and what you could have done better and what the actual problems were. A lot of the time when people have disagreements, they're not actually dealing with the real problems underneath those disagreements. They're blocking emotions, they're avoiding issues, they're avoiding conflict, they're avoiding saying how they feel so they don't want to hurt the other person. And in the end, they end up hurting them anyway. Right? So you've got a lot of baggage there. You've got a lot of things that are going on that went on there. And unless you have time to yourself to not be in a relationship, to heal, to purposely get yourself into a better state of mind, to be with someone else, things are going to end up as a disaster in your next relationship, or going to be rocky, or not going to be the right relationship for you because you're just on the rebound. Right? You need to take time to grieve and to heal. If you're still in that relationship in a friendship way, that doesn't give you time to grieve the loss of a relationship how it was. And if you're not grieving the loss of a relationship how it was, and you're acting as though you're in the relationship still, but just you've changed like the fact that you're friends now instead of a relationship, then you've got no boundaries in place. When you have no boundaries in place with that person, it just means you are basically friends with benefits. And so when you start dating or seeing someone else or they do, it's going to really hurt your feelings or their feelings. So actually staying friends with someone can be very selfish, because you're saying, hey, you weren't good enough for me to be in a relationship with you, but you're good enough for me to be your friend still. You weren't good enough for me to treat you well in the relationship or give you everything you want in the relationship, but you're good enough to just be my friend. And so also, when you are doing that, you aren't really enabling them to get on with their life. Just you, like, you can't get on fully with your life because they've still got you to think about and worry about. Which brings me on to another point, right? Staying friends with your ex, you still have to devote time to them, energy to them, a certain level of commitment to them. So they are still in your life, taking your energy up, taking your commitment up, taking part of your life up, leaving less space for a new person in your life. You cannot make a new person in your life a priority if you've still got your ex in it. So the dangers of staying friends with your ex is you're actually holding yourself back and or them back. You're not allowing yourselves to have time apart into grief, usually. You're not allowing yourselves to take time to come to terms with the fact you cannot have that dynamic anymore. In fact, if you're just going along as you went before, but change your status to single, but really you're pretty much doing the same thing, you're actually causing a lot more heartache and pain in the long run. And you're being very selfish by not allowing that person to be free to move on completely to another human being, to another person. Right? They're gonna have feelings for you still. A lot of one of you is gonna have feelings for the other. Feelings do not just disappear. And if they do, then you should question why you were ever in the relationship in the first place. Was it for the wrong reasons? Because if those feelings just disappear and you've got no feelings left, then you got to question whether you actually had those feelings in the first place and what those feelings were based on and why. Were they just based on some like excitement in the beginning? Because if so, that's likely what you're going to repeat in the new relationship. Because every relationship after a while doesn't have the same excitement feelings exactly as they were before. You know, people change and people develop and grow, and you've got to understand that you need to adapt. And if there's some excitement lacking in your relationship, then it's up to you to help sort that out, right? Like, plan more dates, have more quality time with them, go to different places together, do more activities together, sort the shit out, right? So you need to understand what went wrong in the current relationship you're just leaving, or the relationship you've just left, in order to improve on the next time you're with someone else. And the only way you can be truly free to give your heart fully to someone else is if the other person, your ex, is no longer in it. You cannot give your heart fully to someone else with the old flame, the old love interest, your ex, still in it. And this is because if you think in practical terms, they're still going to take your time up, this ex, your energy, your effort, and it's going to be divided, right? Your new relationship, should you get into one, needs to be your main priority. You should be making the person who you're in a relationship with your main priority. You can't do that if you've got your ex still in your life. I'll give you an example, right? So you've started a relationship with a new person, or even maybe it's a dating scenario. So the new person you've got in your life, right? You're meant to be meeting the new person for a date. So whether you're in a relationship or not with them, you're dating them at least, right? But if you're in a relationship, you should be having dates anyway. So you arrange to meet them for a date. Then your ex calls you. They've left their keys in the house and locked themselves out and they cannot get back in. And they are so upset and worried and they're stressed and they don't know what to do. So in that scenario, who are you going to choose to see right in this moment? Are you going to choose to see the new person who you're dating or in a relationship with, who you've agreed to meet at that certain time? Or are you going to go back to your ex who's really in a struggling situation, who's really in a panic, who cannot get back in their home and it's quite an emergency? What are you going to do in that situation, right? Are you going to tell the new person, well, I've got to go because my ex needs me right now, right? Which is not going to be very good for your new person because you're not prioritizing the new person. Or are you going to lie to them and just say you lost track of time, or make some other excuse like the bus was late, the train was late, or you got caught in a shop and you forgot the time, or some other excuse? So you start lying to them, right? Lying is no foundation for a relationship, including a new relationship. Once you lie, you cover up another lie and another lie. It stops the trust, and that person has to leave you. Right? So you're gonna lie if you don't want to tell the new person in your life that you're gonna see your ex. Do you think the new person in your life really cares that much about your ex? No, of course they don't. Do you think they care that your ex locked themselves out of their home? Of course they don't. Why? Because it shouldn't be your problem anymore. You've meant to have left that relationship and left that life behind and left that person. You're not supposed to be going around to their house doing things for them or still being in their life helping them out. You're meant to have made a clean break. Your ex is an ex for a reason. They were doing things on their own and with other people before they met you. So you shouldn't be doing things still for your ex. Because if you keep doing things for your ex, they'll rely on you. You'll still be an integral part of their life. So therefore, they're not allowing themselves to find other solutions to their life without you. So they're dependent on you, codependent, if you like. And that dependence and reliance on you is unhealthy for the new person, particularly, as well as for that person, because that person can't move on fully with you still in their life if they're dependent on you. And if you can't live without your ex in if you can't live without your ex in your life, then you have to question, why the hell are you splitting up with your ex in the first place? Why are you so dependent on them? Why are you so attached to them still? Because the whole point of splitting up is you split up and away from that person. You're not together anymore because you weren't suitable in the first place. So the dangers are, you don't prioritize the new person in your life. You don't give yourself a chance and the other person a chance, your ex, of fully opening your hearts up to someone else new. Therefore, you could miss out and the other new relationship could fall short very quickly or not be as healthy as it could be. You are dedicating your time, energy, and effort to your ex, and you're split. Your decisions are split. Your life is split between two people, your ex and your new person. And going back to that scenario again, even if you don't lie, you'll deceive, which is a lie. You'll start making up some excuse other than you're with your ex. And if you do tell the truth, do you think your new current partner's going to like it? Oh, but it's an emergency. She needed me. These are words I've heard from other guys before who can't get over their exes. They still hold a flame or a torch for them in their heart. They cannot let them go. And it wrecks relationships. I've seen it time and time again. I go on dating apps, and as soon as a guy mentions that he's still in love with his ex, or I work it out from what he tells me, I'm just out of there. I don't need the hassle. I don't need the complication. And that is another thing. It is a hassle. It's a complication. It's drama. It's complexity. If you're bringing an ex to a new relationship, that is baggage that the new relationship doesn't need. It doesn't need you to still be in love with your ex, to still have feelings for your ex, to still have attachment for your ex, to still be doing things for your ex at their beck and call. This means you're not your own person. You don't have boundaries in place and you're not making the new person a priority. How do you think the new person's going to feel with you seeing your ex? And if you lie or betray or deceive them, then the relationship is no go from the beginning anyway. It's going to die and die hard and you're going to hurt your new person. And that is disgusting, right? So you should be making a clean break from your ex, because then they can look for solutions and reliance upon other people without you. Whatever you are there as a crutch holding that person up, or there as your crutch holding you up, you are still attached to them and you have not got your heart fully open to someone else, and you've not healed either. This is a danger. You end up becoming a liar or a deceiver, or you end up hurting your new partner. You devote your time, energy, and effort into a split situation. Actually, you've got to dedicate a lot of the time you were dedicating before to your ex still, as well as maintaining a new relationship. So you're putting that added pressure on yourself to actually serve 2 people and help 2 people. You can't please anyone, everyone. Can't please everyone and anyone. You can't please trying to please your ex and the new person is not really gonna work out because there are oppositions. One's old and one's new. Also, there can be jealousy that crops up. Jealousy when you see your ex with a new partner. Jealousy when they see you with a new partner. Jealousy from the new relationship partner that you're with or they're with. You know, how do you think this is gonna play out? It's not gonna be good. I've been on Facebook dating off and on for a long time, as you know. I met, I've also met Indian guys online as well in asexual dating groups, and I've had video calls. I had a video call with a Indian guy once in the United States, and he talked to me and said what type of relationship he was interested in. And he was honest with the fact that he still keeps in touch with his ex, and he said it wrecked the last relationship. That's why we split up, because of my ex. And I said to him, I just could never be with someone with their ex in their life. Like, you've still obviously got feelings for your ex. They're still controlling you in the way that you go running back to them whenever they say there's a crisis. You can't let them go, and they refuse to let this person go out of their life, their ex. And so they ended up having to end a relationship, or the person ended the relationship. I think it was an 8-month relationship or something, because they were still like this with their ex, still going back to do things for their ex. I've met other people online, quite a few Indian guys actually, that are still hung up on the first girl they ever loved at school that's even married to someone else. And it's like, oh, I'll still do anything for her. I met a guy on a dating site quite a long time ago now, and he was in love with a woman who is now married to someone else. And they were doing Skype video calls because he showed me a screenshot of them both. And it's like, how selfish is this to like be doing this, right? I mean, it's just complication. I mean, in this scenario, the guy liked the fact I'm asexual because he's like, oh, you can just be my friend. And that's great for me because I can't be with anyone because I love this woman who's now married to someone else, but we have video calls. I mean, why do I want to be part of that complication? Why do I want to get mixed up in that? As an asexual, I deserve a healthy, committed relationship with a guy who adores me, who prioritizes me, who hasn't got an ex in his life anymore, who wants to be my bestest ever friend, love of my life, spend time, energy, and effort with me, not his ex in the picture. I don't like that. It just causes a lot of stress and anxiety for the new partner, you know, as well as the old one, right? The old one's got to see you with other people. The old one's got to accept the fact you've got someone else in your life. And if you're trying to please 2 people at once, you're not going to do that. You cannot keep that up, pleasing your ex and the new person both at the same time, all the time. It's never going to happen. You're going to disappoint at least one of those people, some or all of the time. So the dangers are you become a liar, you become a deceiver, you become someone who has to split their time, energy, and attention between 2 people, which is exhausting for you. You could get caught in the middle of a love triangle with someone else. So you have your ex, but you still have feelings for them, and they're now with someone else. And the new person that's in your life is in a love triangle with you and your ex. So it all gets complicated and messy. When you make a clean break for it, you decide, no contact, that's it. Our relationship is over. I wish you all the best. I have to let you go because it's the best thing for you to be able to fully move on from me. I love you, but I need to let you go. And true love is letting someone go to allow that person to be with someone else that's going to be better for them, healthier for them, be able to make them happier, and be able to give them as much things as they need in their life. I was going to say everything they need in life, but obviously no one's perfect, but the most they can ever give. Right? And if you are still in their life, you are not allowing them to do that. You are stopping them in one way or the other. So this is why it's dangerous to still keep an ex in your life, because of all the repercussions of what I've said, the lying, the covering up, the deception, the split loyalty, the split time, the split energy, the split effort, and all the complications that come with that. And a status change, that's it. Like, where does the relationship actually end more than a status? And if you can't live without your ex, it means that you shouldn't be in a new relationship. Because in order to get into a new relationship and be fully committed to it, you need to have let the last thing go. And that means you need to have let your ex go. People who hold on to their exes are very dangerous for the new person to be with. Because there's always a danger you'll get back with that ex. There's always a danger that you'll be speaking to that ex, prioritizing that ex, meeting up with that ex, doing things behind the new person's back. This isn't a good thing. So make a clean break. A split up, a breakup means that. It's meant to be painful, because if you love someone truly, it's gonna hurt. But it's better to set each other free, because staying with someone in a friendship when you've been in an intimate relationship with someone is often very hurtful. And it's often a friends with benefits scenario or a have your cake and eat it scenario, where you've got the security of the ex still in your life, and therefore it's easier for you to get into a new relationship because you've kind of got two going at the same time. Let's be real about it. You've got the current relationship or dating scenario that you're in, plus you've got the security still keeping your ex as a backup in case things go wrong with the current one, and you can go back to the ex, which is what a lot of people actually do it for subconsciously. There's a lot of safety and security with the ex, so they want to keep the ex there in case something goes wrong with the new person, the new dating scenario. These are actually selfish reasons. You should be giving up that person, allowing them to be with someone who gives them love, care, and attention that they desire. Both people, the ex and the new person. If you cannot commit to prioritizing the new person, making that new person feel happy, special, loved, adored, and you'll still give in to your ex and you'll split loyalty, this is not good for the new person. It's not a healthy relationship beginning or a foundation. And it's a lot of stress, hassle, and anxiety that the new person just does not need in their life, and worry and extra complication, like baggage. You know? Am I saying that no one ever keeps in touch with their ex and it doesn't work out? I'm not saying that being in touch still with an ex and having a new partner never works out. But in my experience, it never works out. So that I'm not saying it can never work out, but I'm saying in my experience it doesn't, because there are still feelings and emotions there. And, like, for example, the first guy I thought I ever loved, right? He dumped me at 16 years old after he pressurized me to have sex at 16 years old. And I thought I said 6 then because I had my first boyfriend at 6, but it's 16 years old I first had sex, which is the legal age in the UK. And, he pressurized me into have it by saying his friends were all doing it, and I lacked self-love then, so I obliged him, right? He was older than me, 2 or 3 years older. And so we did that, and like 6 months later, he dumped me, and I was absolutely hysterical. I was so upset. And then he did, after that, see me once, I remember. And I remember stood waiting for him to go back on the bus, I think it was, to his home. And I remember him saying he still wanted to be friends with me. And I was wise enough and mature enough at 16 years old to be able to say to him, no, because I knew it was friends with benefits. I knew it was for him to have his cake and eat it. He didn't want the responsibility and commitment of being in a relationship with me, but he certainly didn't mind still being my friend and having all the benefits of me. So I said no, and I parted from him and I let him go. Of course, it hurt, but it was so much better. I was so happy I did that for myself because I did myself the biggest favour of my life, and that was to make a clean break from him. Because at that point, when he still asked me that, I still loved him. I still had attachment feelings for him. I still wanted to be in a relationship with him. I was so upset and distressed and distraught. But I knew, even back then, when I didn't even have self-love like I do now, even back then, I still had some self-worth enough to know that I do not want a friends with benefits scenario. I do not want a scenario where you have your cake and eat it, where the guy gets the best of both worlds. Me, non-committal and open to seeing other women. I do not want that for myself, and I have never wanted that for myself. And so therefore, I do not want to get into a relationship with a guy who's still seeing his ex, and therefore he isn't fully committed to me. I deserve that, and I deserve the best, and so do you. It's up to you if you allow someone to be in your life in a new relationship or dating scenario whilst they're in contact with their ex. But how you allow others to treat you is how they'll continue treating you. And you're enabling that behavior by allowing it to happen. So if you enable that behavior, they know they can do that and get away with it and still be with you, then that's what will happen. But if you say no, then yeah, sure, they could still go to their ex anyway. A lot may be like, well, I can't live without my ex, that's it. And they'll either lie or deceive if you do get with them or stay in a relationship or dating scenario with them, or you'll just realise that they're no good for you and leave anyway, eventually, and find out they've deceived and lied to you. So these are the dangers of staying with an ex. And I have just seen numerous times how guys are hung up on their ex. I sometimes find out through conversations on dating apps with guys. I talk to them and say, what happened in your last relationship? They'll tell me what happened. And I'm like, well, so what's your reason for splitting up with them then? They might give a reason like, oh, she liked someone else. I'm like, so if she stopped liking this person and she liked you again, would you get back into a relationship with her? And they're like, well, yeah, probably. Or if you didn't do the thing that you did then, would you get back into a relationship? Yeah, probably. If this person wasn't in a relationship with someone else, would you be with them? Yeah, probably. And that says it all. Because they're still hung up on their ex. And even though I love Indian guys so much, I don't want to be with an Indian guy who hasn't got over his ex and who is still thinking about them, wanting to be in a relationship with them. Of course, they're going to think about them from time to time because it's their ex. I accept that. But someone who's thinking about them with a, I wish to be in a relationship with them still. I wish they were still mine still. I really want to be with them. That type of scenario is absolutely no good for me. They need to be over their ex. They need to be have moved on from their ex and not actually want to be in a relationship with their ex and realize that person wasn't right for them and to make a clean split from them. Right? Not keep that type of relationship going on, not keep that type of attachment. I mean, some guys, you're talking like over 10 years later, they're still hankering after their ex. You're an ex for a reason. You weren't the right person for that person because if you were, you'd be in a relationship with them now and you wouldn't have let them go. If you don't want to let them go, don't let them go. Work it out and do whatever it takes to work it out. Open, honest communication. Talk about how you really feel. The excitement's gone, then talk about what you can do to make it more exciting. Or accept the fact that after a while, the excitement chemicals die down and you're left more with friendship anyway, because friendship is the foundation for any healthy relationship. If you've got the bestest friendship ever with that person, then why are you splitting up with them? If you feel that you should only be friends with them because kissing them makes you feel grossed out because you realise you shouldn't be kissing your friend, then that's a different story, right? But you still need to let each other go, to move on to someone else, to be with someone else, to give your time, energy, and effort to someone else, to make the someone else a priority in your life. And if you're not ready to do that, or prepared to do that, or want to do that, I would question why the hell have you split up with them in the first place? Or why the hell are you pursuing someone else? Because either one is not a good thing, right? And you're going to take all your problems from that current ex relationship, which is basically just a status change if you're still seeing them like you were before. You're going to take them all to the new relationship. Plus, you're going to have all the added problems of split time, split energy, split effort, divided loyalty, probably lying and deception as well. So, this is why it's so dangerous to stay friends with your ex, and you shouldn't be doing it. And if there's sexual attraction involved, or even a type of chemical aesthetic attraction, you're going to find it hard to resist each other. You're probably going to be flirting with each other in some ways. You're probably going to be saying stuff to each other which might actually turn you on asexually or sexually and may make you feel you want to get back with them more. Because you're like, it's a thing that you can't quite have because you've split up, but you've not fully split away from them. So it's like they're still in your life, they're still there, they're still a presence, and there's still this kind of like feeling. And the less you're actually kissing or physically intimate, the more you may feel like doing that with a person. So it might make you more intense and more want to get back with them. But if you've already included a dating scenario with someone else or got into a relationship with someone else, you're complicating things for yourself, your ex, and the new person. Do you see how all this plays out into dangerous scenarios, lying, deception? Dangerous, I mean, in the sense of you're not a good person if you're going around lying, deceiving, conning people, dividing your loyalties, dividing your priorities between two different people. It's like you're in a relationship with two people. It's almost like you're cheating and two-timing the person that you're in dating scenario or current relationship with. You're two-timing them with your ex, but just you've changed your status. You're just saying you're friends, but you're not really behaving much differently. You haven't properly split up. You're not spent time apart. You've not grieved. And you still got feelings for them. And you still would have them back in your life, in your life as a relationship if things change slightly. This is not splitting up. This is not splitting away. This is just delusional behavior, delusional thinking that you're actually out of a relationship where you're still acting like you're in one, just change your status to friends. Right? This is very unhealthy. It's not good. And you could end up being a very tricky situation, very unhelpful situation, very complicated situation, very much a love triangle. Or you could end up in two love triangles with your ex and their new partner, and with your ex and your new partner, right? Who wants that complication? Who wants that baggage? Who wants that divided loyalties, energy, intention? It just drains you. And all this stuff is bad. You're taking all the old energy with you to a new relationship. You're taking all those things that have never been fully tied up, all those old energies from your ex. You're taking all that baggage, all that stuff into a new relationship. And you're giving it a really bad foundation from the start, a new relationship or dating scenario. Because you haven't had time to grieve. You haven't had time to properly split up with your ex and split away from them. You're still hankering after them. This is just a very unhealthy foundation for a new relationship. So I would urge you to stop having contact with your ex, to mutually split away for your own good, to allow them to be with someone else and to grieve the loss of you, and to allow yourself to be with someone else and to grieve the loss of them. I hope you found this video useful, helpful, insightful. If you have, please give this video a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already and hit the bell icon so you never miss an episode. And don't forget to grab these books on Amazon, which are Asexual Perspectives and Fibromyalgia Self-Help Handbook. And I'll see you soon on the next video live stream. Share this video if you think someone needs to hear this right now. I think it will help them a lot. Love to know your comments. Post them down below. Any questions, I would love to answer them. I'll see you soon in the next video live stream. Lots of love. Take care. Bye. Bye-bye.